Welcome back to American Agenda. It's no secret, everywhere you go, somebody is watching you. Big tech companies like Google see what you're seeing and they hear what you're doing. And it's only getting worse as these companies harness the power of artificial intelligence. Joining us now to discuss more is the author of the new book, Terms of Service, Craig Stanfill. Craig, thank you very much for joining us. How concerned should we be?
We should be extremely concerned about what's going on these days with big tech and artificial intelligence. People have been looking over your shoulder sort of for all of history, but there's an entirely new thing going on. These companies have access to massive amounts of data. They know pretty much everything about you, and they don't have to rely on people to spy on you. They can use artificial intelligence. And so, for example, Facebook has only 15,000 content moderators to see what their users are up to, and they can't possibly keep tabs on their 2 billion users. So what do? They get artificial intelligence to look over your shoulders and decide whether you are obeying them or not. And this gives them really almost unlimited capability of intervening in your life, keeping an eye on what you do, and stopping you from doing things they don't want you to do.
Yeah, and then you have the concerns of them working with the U.S. government, because there were these recent reports where the U.S. government is issuing these so-called secret keyword warrants to Google, and Google cooperating.
Absolutely, and that's kind of spooky. You know, you ask a question and the government can see what you're asking, see what you're seeing, and then they can take action on it. And I read up on this one specific thing, the keyword warrant, which is where there were some specific crimes that they were investigating. But we've got this government also that thinks that if you support Donald Trump, you're a white supremacist and maybe a dangerous terrorist. And if you disagree with critical race theory, you might be a white supremacist and a dangerous terrorist. And where does it end?
It's like policing your thoughts. Yeah, like policing your thoughts. Even if you're thinking about something and you're looking up information about something, that could end up being a problem.
Absolutely. I go into this in a lot of detail in my novel, and it's in a fictionalized setting to take it away from the present and sort of into the, well, what could happen rather than what is happening. And for example, in this world, you got this marvelous transit system. By the way, you can go into my website and get a free copy of the first chapter where all this will be detailed. They've got this marvelous transit system, and it will take you from point to point, individually route you. Wonderful. But if the AIs don't like you, then your commute may get a lot longer. And it may take you, you may be going from Hoboken to Manhattan by way of the Bronx.
Yeah. Hey, Craig, let me ask you this. You're laying out the nightmare scenario that we've all had. But the question now is, how do you fix that? And it seems like right now Congress is trying to address some of the issues with Facebook, some of the other social media. How would you fix this from getting worse and worse?
I think that it's a very difficult problem. First of all, I think we need to have robust protection of our First Amendment rights on the Internet. Because that's the biggest thing that they're doing right now is if they don't like what you say, they will not let you say it. And they're getting ever bolder on this. At first, it was like, if you were actively advocating racist ideas, and if you're a member of the Nazi Party, then they'll silence you. And now Google says that if you spread disinformation as far as they're concerned about climate change, that you're now a bad person and they'll censor you. And where does it end? I think we need to understand that First Amendment protections are absolute God-given rights. They do not come from the government. They do not come from the Bill of Rights. They are inalienable rights. That means that my right to speak my mind is mine. I was born with it, and it cannot be taken away from me. And if somebody does take it away from me, then they have committed an act of tyranny against me, and we are living in an age of tyranny. And it is only going to get worse unless we put our foot down and bring it to an end.
Yeah, and your book shows us what could happen.
All right. Craig, thank you so much for being with us, and hopefully they'll go somewhere toward fixing this. Craig Stanfill, thank you. He is the author of the book, Terms of Service.